Hello, everyone. Um, Welcome to the webinar. It's about the time to start. I hope everyone is ready to hear and listen some good information. Um, we would like to thank you for joining, first of all, and thank you for your time. And we're very happy that you're here. I believe speakers have prepared very useful information for us today, and we're going to learn a lot. Few housekeeping rules. First of all, everyone is muted automatically. Um, we are also recording the webinar, which is also going to be available later on YouTube. At the same time, we're streaming the webinar on Facebook. So stay tuned and we'll see the webinar. We're hoping you're going to enjoy the webinar. And before we start, I would like to say about the webinar itself. The purpose of it is to share the information of the great opportunities that the African market provides in terms of being a prime location for the sourcing of soft commodity products. Moreover, covering all contemporary issues and challenges which have changed the logistics and other procedures in the import and export process, such as current COVID situation. For this purpose, we have gathered experts in agro business industry and international trading that will be sharing their knowledge and their experience with us today. Before we start the webinar, please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Simona Kunjulu, Secretary General of TOS Global Ventures, and we are hosting this event together with our founder and CEO, Temitope Kunjulu, and the whole team who has put a lot of work and effort to make this happen. So thank you for everyone, and we would like you to welcome. A little bit about us. We're an Irish-based import and export company. We are based in 3 locations as well: Nigeria, Germany, with headquarters in Ireland. We primarily trade agricultural commodities from regions across Africa, acquiring world-class solutions to meeting customers and stakeholders' needs. As we work closely with the African continent, we see its tremendous potential as the main supplier of high-quality products for Europe and the rest of the world. For that reason, we dedicate our time and in educating people about the African market, as well as building sustainable, diverse global team and transparent supply chain, while making a positive impact in communities where we live and work. We provide assortment for manners of market entry, setup, marketing, and finance, developing a quality, trusted, and innovative platform to empower farmers' community with sustainable business. We have strong presence in Ireland as well. We pride ourselves as members of Dublin Chamber. And we would also like to share with you our latest accomplishment, as we are now all-star accredited import and export company by All Ireland Business Foundation due to capacity to excel in our industry and demonstrate quality and real customer focus. So first of all, as we are here to see our speakers' topics and hear from them, we have invited the experts of different areas of soft commodity trading, which is from farming and procurement, supply chain, quality and control, to logistics and shipping. So we would like to thank our speakers as well for joining us and for sharing valuable knowledge with us today. Our topics of the day are going to be, firstly, we're going to start with the farming with contemporary challenges for farmers and the improvements. And as the process goes, naturally, we're going to see about the quality and control in soft commodity trade and Nigerian market opportunities for agricultural business. Um, After that, we are going to have a few questions answered. And after later on, we're going to continue with the rest of the two speakers, which are going to talk about contemporary challenges in trading and addressing COVID situation, which was before and after currently. And the last speaker is going to speak about logistics, processes, and also invoicing. So without further ado, would like to invite our speaker, Abiodun Olujide, Procurement Officer at TOS Global Ventures, with experience in sustainable agriculture, food security, and environmental toxicology. He will be the first on giving us some insights about contemporary challenges of farmers and producers of soft commodities and possible improvements that can be implemented to overcome such challenges. I would like to pass the floor to Abiodun. Welcome. He's here. All right. He's going to talk about more about the farming part, which are excited to know because it's normally the sustainable question that is very important for us today. People want to have more natural products, and therefore it's very important to hear about that, to know what actually goes into our food, to know what is actually getting there. So I hope he's going to reach out soon. I hope that we have a strong and good team behind working. So I hope everything is fine. As well, we're also going to probably we will need to wait for him to be able to join us. So we would actually go to actually next speaker, and he will join us after. So it will be Mr. Richard. So I will pause just a little bit, and we're going to open the yes. I hope Mr. Richard is ready because I'm sure his topic is very informative and he has a very useful information prepared for us. So our guest speaker, Richard, is National Operations Manager from SGS Inspection Services Nigeria Limited, with focus on agriculture, food and life, and government and institution services. He will talking today about the future of agriculture in Nigeria and quality and improvements in the latest years with Nigerian agriculture business and meeting up with international standards in the food sector. Very important. Looking forward to hear from you. And hello.
Yeah, hello. Good afternoon.
Would you be able? Can we see you, Mr. Richards?
Yeah, can you share a bit the slides? Are you?
Yes, it's nice to see you. And
Yeah, thank you.
here it is.
All right, thank you. Yes, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Richard. My name is Richard Obase. I work with SGS Nigeria. I'm going to talk about the future of agriculture in Nigeria. And we're going to be a bit fast because of the time allocated. I hope you can hear me.
Yes,
Can you?
everything is fine.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, meeting up with the international standard, and SGS is a global company which most of us have come across. Can you go to the next slide? All right. I have content which I want to share. Number one is reaching the potential, the future of agriculture, overcoming the challenges in Nigeria, the market trend, setting the future standard, access to market. We talk about the countries, drive, the youth engagement and technology, transparency in all angles. Then we will talk about SGS, our services. Okay, first we eat and then we do everything else, according to MK Fisher. There are few things you could do, and there's things you could not do, even a week, even a month. But without food, you cannot do them. It will be impossible for human to exist on earth without food. Africa has one of the largest population and the biggest number of people under 40 years, both workers and consumers. Together, it is fast rising middle class able to afford more things like in agriculture sector, food, powerful and profitable opportunity. Raising the game, 60% of the world's uncultivated arable land suitable for crop production is located in Africa. With global and African population, growth in the demand for food is constantly on the rise. This growth demand growing locally, regionally, globally as a whole. Africa will be literally and will feed right into that. Doing business in Africa, in agricultural sector and its related food processing industry will frankly be one of your best bets for doing business in Africa. Next slide. Challenges we are facing in this sector. One, the neglect of agricultural sector, particularly within Nigeria, and when Nigeria became more independent in the oil sector. And it has been a lot of issues coming up from that sector. Achieving the transformation of the agricultural sector require a structural change in the labor market and also in that sector. I will also talk about the farming population, which is aging rapidly and unable to meet with the increasing demand of the challenges in the complex and the market sector and the technology. We feed our rising population well into the future. We need young farmers, commercial farmers who can rightly feed into the rising population as well as to focus on the future. We will need to create wealth, provide jobs for teeming unemployed youth in the agricultural sector, which holds the greatest potential to create millions of jobs. We're talking about the green oil powered by people, which okay, the future is very bright because more youth are catching on the agricultural gold mine, especially named the agricultural green oil, and exploring its amazing potential. The agri-entrepreneurs are creating a numerous social and economic value for themselves. And the African continent, these young people know a secret. Agriculture in Nigeria are challenging rapidly into a business, and also only those that get into it will reap the huge benefits. Meeting the global market, competition for price competitiveness from cheap food, imports from different parts of the world can give better hopes for prices and incomes. Youth should be exposed early in the university to be able to engage in agriculture, writing different types of business plan, assessing loans, planning, managing the business, and making sure that the market is using its product and asset, giving access to input, etc. Next slide. Countries drive in agriculture. African food business is a multi-billion-dollar market. Wide value chain includes all the added values into the food chain until it gets to someone's mouth. For example, agriculture, we have the agro-light business, such as food processing and everything else. Trading, processing, or packaging agricultural product. Mention few sections in the agricultural food chain. Food processing is also growing trend among the young people in Africa. The development of agriculture is now widely supported by 69 governments across Africa, which means that you will find overall figure enabling the policy framework for your venture into countries such as Nigeria, Angola, Ethiopia, Zambia, Mozambique, Kenya, and the rest. Going forward, yes, Nigerian agriculture has potentials, but no one can eat potentials. We must articulate a clear vision to make sure that Nigerian agricultural industry, the economy, to grow, to create wealth, jobs, market for farmers, ensure food security, and make sure we revive the economy to reduce rural-urban migration. Agriculture must become the engine for growth, employment generation, and poverty reduction. We must turn Nigeria into a bread basket, or call it powerhouse for food production. To do so, we must make a fundamental analysis or shift from the agriculture should be seen as a business, not as a development or a development program. It must be structured, developed, and financed as a business for us to fully unlock the potential to make sure that Nigeria food is sufficient. Gains will not come easy, but as we do the right things, we'll succeed in unleashing the power of agriculture to feed our nation and to turn Nigeria into a leading export of food. If you look at in SGS, we have what we call agriculture, food and life. We call it AFL. It has been contributing a lot of the development to the advancement of the agriculture and the sector as a whole. We have the life, we have the seed and crop section, we have the food, we have the trade and logistics. All of them combined together makes what we call what we call nutrition and health. That is what we're combining with agriculture, food, and life. Next slide. In Nigeria, SDS focus on the trade and logistics aspects. We have other different sections of agriculture. We have different sections in SGS, both oil and gas. But for this purpose, we're talking about the agriculture as a whole. We have the seed and crop, which makes up the contract research for the seed and crop, the soil management, and the rest. If you come to the trade section, we have the forestry, the fumigation, pest control, grain and the feed, guarantee services, liquid services, food, soft food services, stock management, vessel tracking. If we go to the food section, we have the sales, the food certification, the hygiene testing, and the rest. Go to the next slide. Agriculture, food, and life. For SGS, we have the analytical services, which provide different kinds of analysis. The pesticide, the mycotoxin, the micro testing, GMO testing, the chemical testing, the muscle testing, the purity, and the rest. We have the fumigation section, which are in charge of managing the crops to make sure that the pests or the cargo are not infested. We have that section. We also have the inspection services section, who provide the quality analysis, sampling, loading, weighing, discharge supervision, damage survey, grading, warehouse inspection, and the rest. We have the audit and the sustainability, which comes in terms of the global gap, the ISCC certification, and the rest. We have the full out-on guarantee services to make sure that your risk is reduced. We'll have the stock management section, which is called the stock monitoring services. We have the market research, which involve the gathering of the strategic data and processing. Go to the next slide. SGS was established long time ago. We have a growing establishment. It was established in 1876. We have grown to a level that we are the number one when it comes to inspection, verification, testing, and certification. We have over 2,400 offices and laboratories all over the world, more than 95,000 employees globally, and our services are excellent. Go to the next slide. SGS is a global inspection offering services tailored to multiple industries. We'll talk about the inspection, the verification, the testing, the certification, the consultancy, the outsourcing, and the training. Next. SGS long history within Nigeria. SGS has operated in Nigeria since 1957. Today, we employed a workforce of about more than 300 people with annual revenue in 2015 as at then ranging to 3.6 billion. We operate a network of offices and laboratories within Apapa, Lagos, and also in Port Harcourt. We have business units. We have the oil and gas, we have the industrial, we have the technical staffing services, we have the food, agriculture, food and life, the environment and health safety, certification and business enhancement, the government and institutional services. Next. Highlight. 60% of the world cultivation and potential in Africa, consumers and producers, future markets and economic contribution, overcoming the challenges, youth and technology, growing focus as a different countries launch agri drive, enhancing the ability to meet standard to secure access to global and markets and local markets. SGS services include verification, testing, and capacity building to ensure that quality and quantity and enhance facilitating the sector growth. Go ahead. I don't know if there's any questions so far, because we are now in the question and answer. I don't know if there's any question so far.
All right. So probably now, as that was the end of your presentation, right?
Yes.
Then, as the first speaker, still Abiodun, still needs to have his speech. Then we can have questions and answers after he speaks as well. So if we can then say thank you very much for your brilliant presentation. We can welcome Abiodun to join us and to show his presentation as well. So I will just a second prepare the slides.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone from this side of the world. I am Abiodun. I'll be speaking on contemporary challenges of farmers and their improvements. Yeah. Hello. Am I on?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
I am just owning the presentation in a second.
I'm not seeing my slide.
No, should be available. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, the challenges facing farmer as a people is the same as those facing agriculture as an industry. These challenges become more pronounced on farmers and agriculture on the continent. Now, these challenges can be categorized into four for summary purpose: legal, for example, the Land Use Act and the communal ownership of land. It could be climatic, it could be operational, and at times it is infrastructure. A very important subtopic under all this category, with the exception of the legal factor, is the cropping season and the harvesting time. The growing season of most crops in this climate is dependent on rainfall. Okay, rainfall could be frequency, it could be in duration, it could be in distribution. Then we have the August break. Now, this August break denotes the mid of the rainy season. Then another factor there is the unreliability of Nigeria Meteorological Services, their prediction and forecast. Another problem there is climatic change. Now, basically, agriculture is rain-fed, yeah. We depend on rainfall. So that makes water a very critical factor in the production of our crops. Now, with the limited facilities for irrigation, so we have to depend on rainfall. Now, the frequency, the duration, and distribution of rainfall over time seems to be uniform, but with the change in climate, the climatic change factor coming in, it has become so unreliable that you are at the mercy of rain for your production. So what are the possible solutions? Before the August break comes, if you want to avoid that, you have to plant early maturing varieties, or you do intensive agriculture with irrigation facilities. Another major constraint to the development of agriculture is crop diseases. Now, our environment, the alternate cold and warm weather, provides suitable habitats and conditions for the buildup of pathogens, the vectors, and then, of course, pests. A single outbreak, if not nip in the bud, could lead to zero harvesting. Example abound every year. Like 4 years ago, we had an outbreak of stem borers, and the impact on maize reserve was well noted. Now, solutions to this include planting of early maturing varieties, and then you plant early. Then you sow disease-free seeds, and then you maintain a very good weed-free environment. Now, weed-free environment is very, very important if we want to control diseases and pests, because this will provide habitat. This will provide habitat for the growth of these vectors and pests. Then now it is a common scenario here that for chemical application or for fertigation, people will just go to river or any source of water around them. They just use the water for this chemical application. It could be risky at times because you may be introducing new vectors and pathogens into your field. Then, of course, crop rotation. This has proved to be a very, very good source, means of controlling crop and diseases. Now, organic farming. This concept is not entirely new to us. It is the practice of the cultivation of crops, rearing of animals without the use of synthetic inputs. All inputs are supposed to be biodegradable. It involves the deployment of cultural practices to improve soil fertility, management of pests, and disease control. I try to give my own definition of organic farming there: a method of crop and livestock production that is much more than choosing not to use pesticides, fertilizers, GMOs, antibiotics, and growth hormone. Organic production is a holistic system designed to optimize the productivity and fitness of diverse communities within the agro ecosystem, including soil organisms, plants, livestock, and the people. The principal goal of organic production is to develop enterprises that are sustainable and harmonious with the environment. Mankind has been known, this is a field that interests me because I'm into toxicology. Mankind has been known to do everything to favor it, to favor him, while it injures the environment. Organic farming is to reverse this trend. We do what will favor us and will favor the environment as large too. The major advantage of organic farming is the protection of the earth and its inhabitants from side effects of synthetic chemicals and the production of healthy and nutritious food. Research has it that foods that are grown organically are more in content in terms of nutrients. The expanding global market for the expanding global market for organic products is one of the major reasons why people are into agriculture, into organic agriculture. Half of the feed in organic agriculture is basically in Australia. Presently in Nigeria, we don't have any certified body that is regulating it. The closest we have is the Organic Agriculture Association of Organic Agriculture Practitioners in Nigeria that is putting a bit of pressure on the government to establish organic policy. Next slide, please. Okay, thank you very much. Any question, please?
Okay, so thank you very much, Biodun. It was very interesting to hear. Now we can welcome some questions. I see that there is one question in the question and answer box below. If you have more questions, please feel free to write there and I will read it out loud for our speakers to answer. So we have one question there. It says, what offers do you have for startup company? Is it probably the question would be for Richard? I will ask if Richard can respond. Richard, would you be able to on your microphone and respond to the question if you're available?
Yeah, I'm on. He said, what offer do you have for start up a company? Yes, for any company that want to enter into agricultural export, all you need to do, first of all, is to register a company to make sure that the company is registered. You register a company with the local agency. That, for example, in Nigeria, we have the Export Promotional Council. If you want to be an exporter of grain or any kind of cash crop for export, you need to register with them. That is the first step. Now, if you register with them, you need to now ask if you need to know the kind of product you want to enter into. For example, is it sesame seed? Is it cashew nut? Is it hibiscus? Or is it any other grain? You need to be sure of what you want to venture into. It will help you. Now, in that regard, after that, you have a focus of what you want to do. You look at the market. Which market do you want to enter into? Is it the Europe market, or is it the Asia market, or the rest? You know what you want. At the end of it, you have a particular goal of supplying sesame seed to a particular set of people. Then you focus on that and make sure that the quality you are having or you want to present is up to international standard. By so doing, it will help you to make a name in the market. That is what I have to say on that.
Okay, thank you very much, Richard. That's very useful indeed. We have another question for second speaker, Biodun. You didn't talk about the role or challenges of technology and tech-enabled agribusiness and possible solutions. Would you have something to say about this particular question? Abiodun. I think you're muted at the moment. You're still muted. Okay, now.
Yes, I divided the problems we have into four, and infrastructure is one of them. Now, and this is the basic. Some areas, there's practically nothing you can do about infrastructure unless you go into on intensive scale. For example, the Ekiti Axis, mountainous. There's nothing you can do. You hardly find a place that is plain enough up to 100 hectares. There's nothing you can only do. But in some places that we have plain lands that we can do, we don't have that kind of input to do into it. I would have talked about it, but I think I was constrained with time. It's a major problem. Now we have people going into hydroponics, aquaponics, vertical farming, and we are becoming more technologically savvy. I can tell you that. It's a function of time.
That's great. Thank you very much. We have one more question. What the benefit for companies buying organic products? What would be the benefit for buying organic products from Nigeria? Probably Abiodun.
Yeah, organic products controls premium price. Okay, that is one benefit to the farmer. Then to the person buying the product, the benefit is you are buying as nature produces it, full of nutrients, full of value. And I think that is the essence. You are not taking any chemicals into your system.
That's very good. That's indeed the best part of having organic produce, and I think the world is looking into it. Thank you very much for all your questions and for speakers for answering. We're going to proceed with the further speaker. I would like to welcome our speaker, Kizito Okelue, founder and CEO of CodGov, a company dedicated to streamlining the supply chain of African and agri-food products and removing complexities in the market. He would be addressing contemporary challenges for international trade with special attention to the current COVID-19 situation. Please, Mr. Kizito. Yeah.
Hi.
Hello.
Yeah, hi everyone.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much. So my name is Kizito Okilwe. I'd go ahead and introduce myself on the next slide, please. So I'm just here to talk about some of the contemporary challenges in the industry. So I have like the effects of COVID-19 on the industry and what it was like commodity trading before COVID-19 and how it is trading after COVID-19. So first of all, I'm the CEO and founder of CodGov. I have an educational background in aerospace systems engineering from the University of Hertfordshire. And I found it unique that people find it unique that I studied aerospace systems engineering, but ventured into the agricultural industry. So my primary reason for finding CodGov was to streamline the African supply chain and to eliminate certain complexities from the African market, especially with soft commodity trading. So we started in October 2019, and so far we've grown to a team of 9 people across Nigeria and the UK. And sort of like our goal at the moment is to invest, to get a lot of capital investment for food technology and food innovation systems in Nigeria. And we aim to employ at least 100 people from agriculture by 2025. And essentially what we do is simplifying market entry channels to global consumers. So moving on for agenda today, first of all, I'll be talking of soft commodity trading before COVID-19. And after which I'll move on to the effects from COVID-19 on the industry. And finally, I end with the driving forces behind growth of the food industry after COVID-19. So next slide. Okay, so this is just a quick overview of soft commodities, or African soft commodities in the global market. And I like to think of soft commodities as the very pyramid and holding structures of the food industry. So the food and beverage industry is quite large. But just tracing back the roots, you see that soft commodities are key for the global food industry worldwide, as these are either used as ingredients in food manufacturing or soft commodities essentially for the food processing industry, which has a further chain effect into the customer segment, so which affects in retailers, food service distributors, caterers, and also the livestock industry. So moving on, I'll just be talking of some of the industry's trends in the food industry before COVID-19. So the first one we'll be looking at is plant-based protein as a whole. So there's an increased demand for plant-based protein and other alternate sources of protein. Secondly, would be transparency and sustainability. So there's now a global concern, increasing global concern for climate change and sort of like our effects on the ecosystem we're in. And corporate buyers are now more interested in patronizing on a transparent and sustainable supply chains. Thirdly, we have healthier living. So I am in the UK currently, and we can see earlier in September, the UK government sort of like rolled out a new policy regarding healthier living and healthier eating for people. So people have taken up a higher interest in healthier living, and this is one of the trends affecting the industry as well. And it's similar to what our last speaker said. We also have organic food. Certified organic products are rising in value, just in Africa, but globally as well on a global scale. So next slide, please. So now I'll just be pointing out some of the alternative sources of protein we have in Africa. Starting off is the very popular sesame seeds, which has a global valuation of $3.4 billion. So globally traded on $3.4 billion in the world. We also have soybean, which has multiple applications both in food and livestock industry. So peanut, which we're all familiar with, and I'd like to call it a hot commodity for the FMCG market. And we have cashew nuts, which is globally valued, currently traded at 6.5 billion globally. And cashew nut is found in parts of West Africa, specifically Nigeria, also other countries such as Ghana and Ivory Coast. And we have lentils, which is mostly found on the eastern part of Africa, and also some northern parts of Africa, such as Eritrea and Ethiopia. So just looking at some popular use cases for these soft commodities I just spoke about, we have tofu, which is a great alternate source of protein. And tofu is derived from soybeans as well, which is one of its numerous applications. We also have tempeh, which is the second picture on the right. It's also derived from soybean. Peanut butter, a lot of us are familiar with. That's another hot commodity on the FMCG market. So the original ingredient for peanut butter, of course, is peanuts, which can be found in Nigeria and other parts of Africa. Also cashew butter and sesame cake. Sesame cake is also used for animal feed. It's quite popular in the livestock industry. So one thing I would like to point out is that the food industry so far has been the only one to not have been negatively affected by COVID-19. And I'll be explaining more on that later. And I'll be highlighting this finding from FMCG Gurus, which FMCG Gurus is a UK-based company. And what they do is they provide market research and insight into consumer attitudes and behavior across the food, beverage, and supplement market globally. So they go in depth into ingredient analysis, future trend mapping, and actionable recommendations. FMCG Gurus is trusted by global FMCG companies to make more informed decisions. So now, a finding based on an FMCG Guru survey across 18 countries, just to highlight on the impact of COVID-19 on the food industry and commodity trading. And what they found is global consumers are looking to be more health conscious, but want to do so on a budget. So global consumers are more interested in foods that boost the immune system, and they want to be more health conscious, but at the same time are also conscious about the prices of doing that. And then secondly will be consumers want to maximize their health in order to boost their immunity, like I said, to reduce vulnerability to diseases and illness. which was also a rapidly growing concern after the rise of COVID-19. So across the globe, 48% of consumers believe that COVID-19 will continue to influence daily lives for at least a year. And this will drive demand for food that is healthy, sustainable, and caters to the new normal. What I mean by the new normal there is sort of like so caters to the new normal. We have on-demand deliveries and sort of like making things available at the click of a button. So now looking at the effects of COVID-19 again, health and safety implications. What's very important to note there is that COVID-19 does not spread from food products. Also, COVID-19 does not spread from food packaging, so there's not doesn't have to be any worries on that side as to the virus actually spreading from food packaging such as jute bags or PP bags. It doesn't happen. And so far, we've seen safety measures and procedures along the supply chain to keep it flowing. So we also have safety measures and procedures at so many ports to keep commerce flowing and commercial goods flowing. And just in general, in a simple sentence, we can say the world is now adapting to this virus and learning to work and function with COVID-19 around. So now looking at soft commodity trading after COVID-19, according to Business Wire, Crunchbase, The Guardian, and even the UK government, the food industry is an industry still full of opportunities. And unlike a lot of industries that have been hit by COVID-19 in the past couple of months, such as the travel industry, or even the creative arts industry in the UK, the food industry in the UK is still moving strong and is still growing. Actually, certain economists would actually term it as recession-proof, but I wouldn't use that word. And some of the driving forces behind the growth we can attribute to e-commerce platforms such as Alibaba and Amazon, quite popular ones. We also have on-demand platform services, so food technology such as Uber Eats, Deliveroo, and all the others. And last but not least, we'll have a rise in plant-based food and alternative source of protein, as I pointed out earlier before. So the current annual growth rate within the industry is projected to be at 10.7% with an industry value of 354 billion by 2024. And user penetration will be 14% in 2020. And is expected to hit 22.8% by 2024. So that's quite a fast and rapid growth. So moving on. So I would just like to point out some very interesting statistics for us to actually back these claims and to actually understand what's going on in the industry. So on the left side, we'll have a graph of the global import of some plant-based protein products, the ones I highlighted in the first page. And we can see we have a lot of consumption from Europe and Asia, of which the European market is pretty much valued at around $25 billion, and the Asian market almost is $10 billion. So also valuable markets in the industry are the North America and the Middle East market. And now with the graph on the right, this is just highlighting the total numbers of investment that has been made into the food industry so far, just once again to prove it's a growing industry. So as of the 1st of June 2020, this is a report from Crunchbase, by the way. So as of the 1st of June 2020, we'd seen over $6.7 billion invested in the food industry, which is I'd say 60-70% of the total invested in 2015 and 2016. And what's very interesting about this is that we have such a high number of investment into the food industry, regardless of COVID-19 happening. And this amount of investment has only come from only 437 deals. So we have less deals, but more value for money going into this industry. So that's another indicator of growth there. And once again, just to summarize, the food and beverage industry is growing. It's one of the only industries that has not been hit or affected by COVID-19. And the very foundation and very pillars holding the food industry together as the soft commodities which are used as manufacturing ingredients and to turn into other finished products for consumers. And where are the soft commodities going from? They're going from regions such as Africa, which has the agriculture and the climate to actually harvest and plant these plants. And some of the commodities I mentioned earlier include sesame seeds, cashew nuts, and peanut butter that we're familiar with. Next slide, please. So just to summarize, the food industry continues to grow despite COVID-19. Demand for soft commodities is predicted to increase relative to the growth of the food industry. Plant-based consumption and sustainability trend is also increasing the value of this industry. Soft commodities and healthy eating are directly related. So as we can say, soft commodities and the growth in the food industry are directly related. Certified organic commodities continue to rise in value, and this is predicted to keep on happening for the next 5 years. So thank you very much. I'll be happy to take any questions you might have in the Q&A section.
All right, thank you very much, Kizito. It was very useful information and great insight into the market. We're going to have questions after the last speaker, so then we can address the questions that are waiting there. So if it's possible, we'll continue with another speaker. Thank you very much. And the next speaker would be Felix Omolman. He's a finance and admin manager in Admiral Marine Shipping Nigeria Limited, with expertise in supply chain accounting and high degree in law, who will be talking about logistics and soft commodities trading and invoicing. Please, Mr. Felix, take the lead.
Yeah, good afternoon. Good afternoon, all. I would like to get a response so that I know that you are hearing me clearly.
Yes, I will hear you clearly. Thank you.
Okay. I work with Admiral Marine Shipping Nigeria Limited, and I work in the finance and admin. As a finance and admin manager, we are into clearing and forwarding in our company. And I've been given a summary of what I'm going to discuss today: documentation, costs, timeliness, trust, and safety. And of course, COVID-19 logistics is soft commodity trading. Well, I want to begin this way, that invoicing is a commercial document issued by a seller to the buyer, and it indicates the products, the quantities, the agreed prices for the products that are issued by the seller. Of course, you have to agree on the price as attached to the commodity you want to dispose of as a seller. However, what we do in documentation is you will send your quotation to the client that you have at hand. You send your quotation and the name of the product that you want to sell. Then you agree the costs and the period that is going to take. Now we are into clearing and forwarding. So in bringing in a vessel for a client, perhaps from Spain to Nigeria, what do you do? What you do is there's what we call a packing list, the spec of the item or assets, the lease agreement, tax clearance certificate, memorandum of association, and appointment letter that will be issued by the client to the agent. I work on behalf of the agent, which is clearing and forwarding. That is under Admiral Marine. So when you would have agreed on those items and how much it will cost the client to bring the commodity or asset to the country, then you start the work. You start the work by you agreeing on the amount that it will cost you to bring the item to the country, because as an agent, that is your work. You have a license to do this job. The client does not have a license to do this job. Then of course, the timeliness, we also do some clearing, like for instance, now we work for Mobo and we work for Total. During the COVID-19, between February and around August this year, business has been very terrible. They couldn't bring in any item, and in clearing and forwarding, there is no deal when the item is not cited. So until the item is cited, there is no business. Then, of course, during the COVID, there was really no business. So what we were doing is just soft, what you call soft item now, soft commodity, as is stated in what you sent to me. That okay, the item is coming. When Mobo now send us a document that these are the items that will be cleared at the airport or at the seaport. So you go there and check the items. If the items are really there, they will send you a paper. Then you look at the papers, then you check your system, you print out the papers, you give it to to our officers that will go to the seaport or the airport to go and investigate, do an examination. We call it an examination, that the items really are on ground. And of course, there is what we call third-party payments. You make payment for those items and you bring them back to the office. We pay through the bank. You bring the items back to the office that you have paid for. What I mean by the item, the paper, the documentation. You bring the papers to the office, then you send them to Mobo or Toto, as the case may be. As I said, we are working for the two of them presently. We send the items, what you have paid for, to Tota or Mobo. Let me use Mobo right now. They will tell you, okay, you have paid. Then you are expected to claim what we call third-party payment. That one is charged at 10%. Of course, there's also agency fee that Mobo will have to pay to us. Now, if we pay, for instance, we pay about, say, 3 million for an item on behalf of Mobo, then you are claiming 10% of that, which is 300,000, apart from your agency fee. So at the end of the day, when you want to issue the invoice to them, you have to give the invoice a number so that no number is repeated. You give it the invoice a number, you put in your invoice after the job would have been completed, because you have to raise funds to complete the job on behalf of your clients. Then when you make payment, finish all the payment, and the job has been done and delivered to the required destination as directed by your clients, you put up your claim. With Mobo, for instance, when you send in your invoice, there is a department of Mobo that will receive the invoice. That is the account department. It will go through your invoice to be sure that what you are claiming is correct with what they have sent for. Now, if it is correct, then what they now do is that they will send it back to us. There's what they call SES, that is service entry. They send it to us, indicating all the claim that we are making. They will send it to us, then we'll send it back to another department that is called account payable. Account payable will also go through it and to be sure that it is correct. And it takes, from there, it takes about 45 days before payment will now be paid, will now be made to us, to Admiral Marine, which is the agent that have done the clearing for Mobo. But should there be any mistake along the line, it will be sent back to us. It means the 45 days will start to count when the clearance would have been done by us. We send it back to them. Then the new 45 days will start counting. It really takes a lot of time, particularly during the COVID period, even up till now, that it is difficult to move from one place to the other, even in Nigeria. as I speak with you now, Mobi doesn't even go to the office. They work from home. Only few people still go to the office in Nigeria. Mobi work from home, and it takes a lot of time now for them to begin to make payment onto us. And it has been really hectic for us because you have to borrow money to do business in Nigeria. That has been our pain, at least for now. Then, of course, there's what you call a pro forma invoice. A pro forma invoice is just like what I would call a quotation as well. When you get a new client, for instance, you say, okay, they come to you to discuss. I say, we have an item to clear or to bring from a given country, let's say country A to Nigeria, and we want to know how much it will cost us to bring that item from so country to Nigeria. Then we'll give them what we call quotation, or if you like, we call it a pro forma invoice. But this is really not the invoice now. It's just a pro forma or a quotation until the real business is done and you have been able to agree on what they will pay you, and you tell them what you want to get, and you agree. If there is a counter offer, it means there is no deal. But if there is an agreement between the two of you, consensus added them, then of course you are into business. Then you give them the pro forma invoice, they make some payment to you, you agree to in writing that, okay, this will cost us about 20 million. If you give us 15 million or you give us 10 million, we can start this business. So that is how it goes. That is how it goes in clearing and forwarding. Thank you so much. If you have some questions, I'll be here to answer you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Felix. It was very useful to hear that. Truly, COVID is causing some challenges, but I hope it's not going to be for a long time. So for now, we have still some questions. I have 3 questions in the Q&A box down below. If you have more questions, please feel free to write them, and they can be for the last 2 speakers and as well for the previous 2. So the first question, what type of legal challenges does import and exporting into Nigeria pose for the rest of Africa? Not sure who is it the question for, but if anyone has an answer, please go ahead. What type of legal challenges does import and exporting into Nigeria pose for the rest of Africa? Would Kizito be able to say something about it?
Hello, can you hear me? Yeah, so that's a tricky question. I'm just reading it again because it says legal challenges does import and exporting into Nigeria pose for the rest of Africa. Well, one thing I'd like to point out there, and narrowing it back to the agricultural industry, is currently 90% of Africa's agriculture is exported from the continent raw or semi-processed. So that's one thing I'd speak on there. And in terms of challenges does that pose for the rest of Africa, it devalues our agriculture because there's an abundance of product that's devalued in the market because they're exported raw, semi-processed. So that's not exactly getting the value out of these soft commodities. So that's currently a challenge in Nigeria and for the west of the whole of Africa as a whole. So it's something that government and regulatory bodies are looking into actually putting sort of strict regulations around our agriculture and how it's exported. So maybe we cannot export certain commodities if we haven't done a certain level of processing on them first to save the valuation of the to increase the valuation of the commodity and to make sure we're actually getting the right value for our products. So I hope that answers your question.
All right. Okay, so
just to add to what Kiziko has said, there are customs in every place, at the airports, at the seaports. then of course there are legal issues to be settled. So long as the commodities are not banned in Nigeria, then the items can be brought in as much as the legal issues or the legal rules are fulfilled.
That's brilliant.
All right. Okay. So then I hope the question was answered, and I will continue to the next question. Question for both speakers. Are meat exports allowed from Nigeria to Europe? Are there certifications required to export processed meat and meat products to the UK or any foreign nation? I'm not sure, would it be maybe Richard or Mr. Felix, or if anyone has wants to answer, please go ahead.
Well, to me, this is Phyllis. To me, I don't know of any export now that is banned and that is not allowed to be sent or exported from Nigeria to other countries. But of course, I want to mention here that in the area of food, if we don't have enough food in the country, well, there will be no need for us to begin to export them to other countries. We first of all have to satisfy ourselves first. But that is not to say that we are not doing exportation of some food items from Nigeria to other countries. For instance, the cashew nuts that Mr. Kizito mentioned earlier on. You see, Nigeria is such a country that we depend so much on individuals. The nation or Nigeria as a nation may not be exporting some of those items, but the individuals who are involved in exportation and importation, they can go ahead and export some of those items to other countries in order to make a living.
Okay.
All right.
Let me say something, Richard speaking. Let me say something on that to add to what Mr. Felix has said. In terms of exporting meat to Europe or any country, first of all, before you export anything to any country, you need to know the country's instructions. Every country have restriction of goods that they want to receive into their country. There is procedure, there are process. Meat is edible. Not every country allows meat into their country. First of all, you need to know the country you are exporting into, and you know what is called country instructions. What are the things that is being restricted into that country? You need to know. If meat is one of them, therefore you need to look at the next country. But if you, for example, let's say for instance, let's say Netherlands, for instance, you want to export to Netherlands, you need to know the country instructions. What and what are you to export to that country? What and what are you not to export to that country? So it will help you to know whether you can export. Even within Nigeria, as you're exporting the meat outside Nigeria, there are a lot of process you pass through, right from the custom and the agencies and the Nigeria, the food, the NAFDAC. They also play a part in terms of the edible foods. If you talk about cash crop like sesame seed, shea nut, soya bean, these are cash crops that are raw food that can be turned into edible. But meat is an edible something which is almost ready for consumption. So there are process, there are regulations concerning that. You need to check before you export. Thank you.
All right, that's very good. Thank you very much, Richard and Mr. Felix, for the answer. And the next question is, what the companies have been doing for growth despite the COVID-19? Okay, Mr. Kizito.
Yes, one thing I really point out there regarding that question is what companies have been doing for growth despite COVID-19. Well, on our side, there's a lot of automations in our process. So in our sales and deals workflows process. Just as one of the speakers said, with some of the documentations actually required for the export process, we know quotations, pro forma invoices, and other similar documents. So what we're trying to do is to automate that process as much as possible, to sort of like minimize the human effect that is needed. As we know, people are trying to work from home and etc. So we are just on our side, we are making it a bit easier for consumers to access these commodities at the click of a button. So we've set up a digital platform where businesses can sign up to, and if they wanted quotations on their if they wanted quotations for commodities, it's all live on the internet. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a back and forth emailing process just to agree on a price and other working conditions of a contract. So we're trying as much as possible to automate this process to speed things up and still get business moving as efficiently as possible, even amidst COVID-19. So that's one thing we're doing on our part.
All right. Okay. I hope the question was answered. And then another question from Paula. Are there certifications for agro products and commodities going to change due to COVID or would not have any effect? Would COVID affect farmers or importers at the same level? Who would like to share some insight on that? Maybe we can start, let's say, with the certifications. Is there anything particularly changing in certification requirements during COVID?
No,
Maybe...
Richard speaking.
Yep.
There's no changes.
All right.
Because certification of agro products are the same.
Yes.
Based on the buyer and the seller. For instance, any cargo that's entering into Japan have its parameters to be tested. You talk about the pesticide, talk about the aflatoxin and the rest. So there have not been any changes. It's still the same parameters to be tested. In fact, it is this period that most exporters or importers are careful of their goods so that it will not be returned back. For instance, if you export cargo without proper inspection, without proper certification to know the quality of that cargo, it can get to destination. The buyer will say, no, this doesn't meet my spec. There will be a kind of a conflict. It's either they return the cargo to you or at a reduced price. So the certification or the analysis done on agro products are still the same. No changes so far.
All right. And would COVID affect farmers or importers at the same level? Maybe we can say, let's say, does COVID affect farmers? Maybe Abiodun wants to say something about that. Sorry, probably you're muted. I can't hear you. No. All right.
Okay, I've been unmuted. Thank you. Yeah, for the farmers, I would say is not affecting us because mouth will always eat. So the food will always come to the mouth. During the COVID, everybody is eating. So it's not affecting us, but we just have to find a way. Now, what the only effect I see is in terms of logistics. Movement were restricted and a whole lot of issues were on the road security-wise. And because people were restricted from going to work, demand tends to be more. I was doing a whole lot of vegetables during that time, and demand seems to be more, but you have to invest so much to secure your goods moving from the farm to the urban centers. That's it.
All right. Okay. So basically, COVID probably affects just the movements mostly.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, we have actually one more question. What agriculture market innovations and supply chain might increase market participation among smallholder producers? Who would like to answer this question? what agriculture market innovations in supply chains might increase market participation among smallholder producers. Probably it's more like, what can we do as a producers to increase the market participation? If we try to rephrase the question, maybe Kizito would like to answer this question, as it could be just related to what can we do to attract and yeah, I guess.
Actually, that's a very interesting question. There's a lot of things I could say there, but I'd sort of like limit the focus to what we're doing so far. So one of the innovations we're looking at in the supply chain to increase our participation among smallholder producers is actually blockchain technology. So blockchain technology has the potential to completely rethink the way we interact with our supply chain in terms of transparency and traceability along the supply chain. And what blockchain technology has the potential to do is essentially swap out our carbon footprint for digital footprints. So we're talking about creating an immutable permanent records of asset ownership along the supply chains, where you can sort of like view the history of commodities as they move along the supply chain. And it's something that can't be tampered with. It's something that can't be altered, and it's very secure. And that will eliminate a lot of problems we see existing in the supply chain today, for instance, such as food frauds. And this is taking transparency and traceability to a whole different level. So possibly integrating this technology into smallholder farmers is definitely a game changer. It has the potential to increase the value of their products, and also having a digital transparent records, and which is verifiable and immutable along the supply chain. So it's one of those technologies. Another thing we're currently looking at is to also integrate big data for more informed food systems. So when I mean big data, we're talking of collecting a lot of data points regarding agricultural produce, so such as information regarding the soil. So soil series, for instance, if the crop was planted somewhere in Nasarawa State, so the consumers having the ability to know what soil properties, the properties of the soil that was the crops were harvested from, also giving them additional big data points to be able to get climate and weather information series on, set geographical area over a period of time to be able to help them make more informed decisions. So just to quickly summarize that again, would have things like big data and blockchain technology.
All right, that sounds very promising. Thank you very much, actually, for everyone. If you still have any more questions, please feel free to write. And if not, then I want to thank you very much. Okay, we do have. Can I have the contact of Kizito? I'm developing a B2B technology food distribution platform seeking to enable retail stores access packaged livestock through an automated inventory management system that enables easier, faster, and more profitable procurement directly from farm to shelf. I think I need to work with him. We're going to reach out, and we'll share this after. So thank you for the interest. So thank you very much for everyone. We really want to thank you because it was very interesting and informative. I'm sure everyone learned a lot, and I'm sure everyone will be able to make use of this in the businesses, and it's going to be beneficial for everyone. So a special thank you for Mr. Felix, Mr. Kizito, Mr. Abiodun, and Mr. Richard, and obviously all team of TOS Global Ventures, because everyone had their input and monitor everything from the other side of the webinar. So if there are no more questions, yeah, thank you for participating. And this webinar is going to be available on YouTube as well. And we're going to share this with you in the upcoming day. So once again, thank you very much and have a very good day. Thank you.
Thank you, Simona. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.